XRP morning. Hello.
I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP.
Hello. New York City. Hello. Hello everyone. Please forgive me if I don't greet everyone personally. Mahlzeit. I've just eaten chicken and rice. More secure than you'll ever be. Faster, I'm XRP.
I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP.
30 seconds. Not a good singer, Steve. So, hello, welcome everyone. Let's get started. First off, I have no financial interests, I have no sponsored links, and I don't want no donations, please. I do not give financial advice, and today I want to introduce a new rule. During live stream, we do not talk about price or when moon, because you all know my expectations, and no one knows the date. Today I just want to talk quickly about my last video that I think XRP needs a high price, and I have been kind of questioned by a guy who is here as well, Peter Corbe. Yes, he's actually trying to analyze or revalidate my figures quite strongly, which I basically appreciate. However, and this is very important, and that's because I quickly want to talk about it. My figures, and I really hope that everyone heard that in that video, if large payments are going through the system, we need a high price. Okay, that's a really big if, because we don't know. However, that response from Ashish Biela today on my question if XRapid supports payment channels, he avoided a little bit the streaming part, because there was an interview where David Schwartz stated that the future will be streaming payments. But honestly, I have troubles understanding how a 50 million payment from a bank should be streamed. I really don't know. And even if the appropriate XRP for those 50 millions would need to be bought anyway. They can not just buy 5 XRP, send them, receive them back and send. It's not like that. That would not work like that. So they would need to have those 50 million anyway. So if it's like one pay, because there was a lot of discussions going around if this streaming statement from David Schwartz would affect price. I don't think so. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about quickly about my prediction. There is 2 unknowns. One is we do not know. Actually, one unknown is we do not know how many times one XRP is being traded. Actually, it's 2 unknowns. Now I remember. How many times one XRP will be traded per day? This is an information I couldn't really, with all my research I've done, I couldn't figure out any volume, any huge market maker. Actually, let me make a note. Maybe someone of you can make some sense of put the link to the market maker company. The only thing I got close to is today I found an article with one of the top 3 market makers for the UK stock exchange in London. And they list earnings and revenue. But that's basically, maybe one of you guys can make more out of those figures. I will put the link to that company's reports. They have, I think, quarterly reports and annual reports. Maybe one of you guys can make more sense out of it. To me, it really looked like they wouldn't have billions of cash ready, and their top 3 market maker in US. So basically, what I wanna say is, as long as we don't know how many times such an XRP market maker would sell his XRP per day, we have basically no idea. The other thing is the circulating supply. This is also totally unknown. When I stated that the exchanges, at least what I get from Ledger Exposed, have about 1 billion, let's say between half a billion and 1.5 billion XRP usually, somewhere in that area, then we do not know. I mean, let's take an example. Binance has on Ledger Exposed 1 billion XRP, but though that this billion XRP is not the XRP from Binance, it could also be mine. If I had a Binance account and I had, like, I don't know, 50,000 XRP laying around, or someone sent it to me with the destination tag, then it lands in that very same wallet. Now, how many of these are actually liquid, which really are from the exchange, we don't know. We have seen, I think it was middle of last December, there have been going on quite some huge transactions reported by the XRP whale alert. From those transactions, we could assume that they may have 1 billion ready at hand, but we really don't know. And as you all know, they need to make sure that that this billion they have will basically be enough for, I don't know, 3 months or so or longer. So they can under no circumstances risk selling for the first huge transaction coming in, like 50% of this billion XRP, and the rest of the transactions they will hardly have any XRP anymore. So that's two unknowns: how many are really liquid, and how the turnover of one XRP per day. And this, when you go to the XRP price calculator, I think I closed it. They have like, I don't know, 7 parameters or so, and it's those two, the turnover per day and the liquid XRP, which affects the price the most. Okay, so that's really important if you try to think about the price. Now, I also want to quickly, because from my new followers, I got also some criticism that I do not look at all the valid points, etc. And maybe there are some of my new followers also here in the live stream today, and I want to quickly repeat. I made a video once, I think the title was $5,000 per XRP. And in that video I showed 4 perspectives. One was the simple calculation with low value payments and high value payments. This calculation I did in my last video, that XRP requires a high price. Then one perspective was the sell walls on Bittrex. That's basically based on the Shane Ellis theory, because he said there will be buy and sell walls. And last year, this year, I think they hit those sell walls. But last year, I could see 2 clear sell walls. One around 10,000, about $600 million, and one just below 20,000, about $400 million. So that's another indication, you can make of it what you want, that they may expect really high price. Then a third perspective for a high price is my video about market mechanics, where I try to show, not taking into calculation those market makers, but all the hodlers like us retail investors, how long it would take until the market from us would be dry, at what price, and this would be pretty fast. Even at the, I think, $5,000 or $10,000, it would take a few weeks, and then they were all gone. And the fourth perspective is this XRP price calculator. If I fill there the values I'm using in the market mechanics, then basically I reach to the same high level. And one error many people do, and actually 2 errors. Peter Kobe pointed out this XRP price calculator, because they figure out the price well below, I don't know, $50 or so, I think even below $10. And I told Peter, this XRP price calculator makes the same mistake as most people do. It takes the total circulating supply. However, XRapid transactions will go through a particular XRapid partner exchange, and that particular partner exchange will have to provide the liquidity for all those payments going through that exchange. And if it's a small, I mean, do the math. We have, I don't know, 30 big exchanges and the rest is small. And I think we know about 5 or 6 preferred XRapid partner exchanges. And if they have, I don't know, together 30% of what we think is circulating supply, then this 30% divided onto each of these partner exchanges have to be sufficient to be able to conduct all the payments. And the other mistake many people do, which have no clue about market mechanics, is the 3 to 4 seconds per transaction of XRP. Usually I ask them, do you hold XRP? And the answer is yes. And then I ask, did you sell 4 seconds ago? And the answer is no. And then I tell, okay, there's your answer. Okay, now that was the stuff from my side. Now I will go through the questions, and I really hope that we will have some interesting discussion today. 6, check. You have been asking. As I said, I do not give financial advice. I told in recent discussions, I don't know if it was in live streams or so, that I literally have no clue why any other coin than XRP really should have a high value. So from that perspective, buy gold or buy XRP. Might be that another coin might give you a bit more profit in the short run, as Bitcoin did this year. But in the long run, I really don't see. Okay, now, hello Richard, please go on. I don't think we will be talking crucial things today. Now, I can update you tomorrow, Richard. Richie XRP, Rich, who pays for the price when it goes up? That's the market makers. I have in most my recent live streams, in the description of the videos section, market makers versus market takers from the CME group. That's the company Miguel Villas, the guy who manages liquidity for Ripple, was hired from. Check that video. Actually, the text on that page is basically what they are talking. It's more or less word for word what they're talking about in the video. So if the video is too fast for you, read the text. A market maker in a market basically provides liquidity. A market taker would be the institution initializing, like sending money. Okay. Now on the other side of the transaction, there needs to be someone who will be buying that XRP in order to provide fiat, and that will be the market maker. My hunch, already about a year ago, and I have been discussing that with Darren Moore also a little bit, is that the CLS group banks, that's like the tier 1 banks more or less, it's a group of about 60 banks worldwide. It could be, maybe not now, but in the long run, that they will be doing this market making roles, because they have the appropriate liquidity, and they could make sure that they can buy XRP for $1 billion worth of dollar or so. I don't see any of this. Like, check this link I will put on the video later on about this market maker company in UK and try to figure out. But from the figures I have seen on their report, I really do not think that they have billions of cash to buy and sell stocks. But the answer is basically the guys who will be on the other end of the XRP transaction. And as we all know, I hope you know, Ripple has been incentivizing market makers with basically enough XRP. Okay, now let's go on with the questions. Richard, no, you cannot use the total market volume in 24 hours because you don't know. I mean, let's say, I just give an example. Let's say one market maker has fiat for 100 million. So basically he could buy for 100 million transaction on the other side appropriate amount of XRP. He could then move his XRP to the sending country where it may be bought again, and he would receive again some fiat. I don't know how that will work, but somehow he will need to get to his fiat again, right? Maybe via a transaction which goes back into the other direction. And if he can turn around these 100 millions like every 5 minutes, then fine. But if he's only doing a transaction about that magnitude, about every 4 hours, because it is a lot of money and there is a lot of risk involved, I really don't know. That's and then we do not know if this market volume is just one person or one market maker, or if it's the total market. I'm assuming that that the volume, that's not assuming, that's kind of knowledge. When those high value payments will come, the total volume will rise for sure. Okay, let me go on with the questions. That was Richard. I will also put an Excel file with Bitstamp sell order book. I think I have seen a sell vol around $200, but it's not as big as the 600 million at 10,000 I've seen on Bittrex before. Maurice King, I don't think that XRP is related to anything. It's a beast on its own. It's totally independent of other coins. So I think the price rise of XRP is also independent. Richard, I don't know regarding their selling of XRP, because the Global Payment Steering Committee, I think it's called, or steering group from Ripple, like it's a group of, or it was at least 2 years ago, a group of about hold on, I will do it that way. Of about 7 or 8 banks. I don't know how it is now. They haven't updated that page quite a while, but the idea is that those banks basically, together with Ripple, decide whom will receive from escrow and at what price. So there I really don't think that this is an issue. Butterfly Trader, you're a long follower of mine. X current is enough. We have multi-hop. One instance of XRP per country is just about fine enough. Not everyone needs XRP, sorry. I'm almost through with the questions, it looks like. In case, hold on, English to me has like a 4. English to me, what you're basically proposing, the lending of crypto assets that has been mentioned several times also by Miguel Villas, how that will affect, I really don't think, I mean basically it's just, I don't think that will affect the price as such. I mean, maybe I'm a bit stupid, but the difference between me buying directly or you lend XRP to me and I give you money and it's your XRP but I can use it, I mean, I don't see, maybe I'm too easy, I really don't see problem there or any influence on price. Why is US regulation so anticipated? Michael T, I have no clue why everyone waits for US regulation. I mean, come on. Ripple is talking to those regulators for like 3 or 4 years now and 100%. I mean, why hasn't the SEC come out with a definite statement on XRP? They did that about a year ago about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Why? For sure they could do that for XRP as well. I mean, why didn't they do that? Maybe it's just to have more reasons to keep the price longer down, so that they have like kind of one variable open. That's the reason why we couldn't let the price rocket. I really don't know. Really no idea. I mean, Michael T, and basically every time when we talk about regulation, I think we do not wait for regulation. I think regulation may help to, actually I will put another link. I put link to Binance changed API. Today I came across an interesting note regarding Binance. They basically will remove some API calls, I think by the end of August. I don't remember which date, in 2 or 3 weeks or so. And the interesting thing is those API calls they're removing are API calls to basically see the order book. And not seeing the order book basically means you cannot do spoof or wash trading because you basically do not know the current price. And they also had in their, let's say, terms and conditions a paragraph where they stated if they figure that you create and cancel too many orders, that your bot will be suspended for a few days from trading. And that's basically also something which helps prevent spoof and wash trading. So on Binance, I'm pretty sure these techniques are not working and will even work less after those API calls to the order books have been removed. Now, how that is on other exchanges, I really don't know. It's really hard to find API calls anyway, and even harder to find documents like that I was just talking about for the terms and conditions for using the API on Scheiße. Hold on. Stream health. I hope you still can hear me. I will switch off video for a moment. When you're finished. The problem is I had that in the past several times, but I think it's not my problem. I think it's a problem from YouTube. Somehow YouTube is kind of... I assume you still hear me. You cannot see me. I turned off the cam. Is that right? Can you hear me? No video. Can you see me again? Hanged. Ah, fuck, das ist so ein Scheiße. Can you hear me at least? Can you hear me? Can't hear you, Huerfuck. So now the stream health is green. Now it should be better. But I lost my thread. I was talking. Well, Peter, this link I have put in this other video, XRP, $5,000 per XRP. Can you escape? Okay. I see me. Okay. So we lost a few people, but now you can hear me. Michael, do you see any clear of events for price to step upwards? No, actually, that's what I said in the beginning, Gabriel. I will not talk about deadlines and not talk about price on the live streams anymore, and honestly I don't know. I'm thinking soon. However, what soon means I really don't know. I mean, I just can repeat, there is a lot of points of drops of connected dots by Darren Moore that the clearinghouse in US may be using Ripple technology, that DTCC, I think it's called, may be using RippleNet, and SBI also had a plan to do currency for also FX trades. And I mean, we all know that these trades are freaking huge. And even if it's just a small fraction of any of this, that will like outdo any of those big payments Swift is doing by magnitudes. I don't know, Empire, how much. I mean, we know how much still in escrow and how much not. If you're suggesting that XRP in escrow is allocated to institutions, I don't think so. I think they decide that every month how much is possible to inject newly into the market, and they will talk about that with those banks in the global payment steering group, like the board over RippleNet, so to speak. I don't think that BACT will have any effect either, at least not immediately. They will first focus on Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Richie Rich. Well, through on one side, on the other side it's the market taker, the institution initiating the transaction. Murat Tuomi, banks will use XRP. Check my video. I made a video about a month back where I'm talking about cost. Check that video. There I show that it's peanuts for banks to really buy XRP. Literally the only thing preventing them, that's regulation. But to overcome that, we have XRapid. That makes it possible to not have to hold XRP, to anyway transact via XRP. Now I lost my thread. That banks. Now I told that for this regulation will be required, but as we know, for that we have this XRapid which overcomes it. That's what I basically said already. And banks, anyway, even if that regulation for banks was there already, they would only buy XRP if it had a more or less stable price, say as fiat does today. I'm not talking about Turkey, I'm not talking about Venezuela or Argentina, but like high liquid fiat, like euro, dollar, yen, stuff like that. Then banks will buy XRP, but that's phase 3. Phase 2 is XRapid. Yes, Richie, now you got it, more or less. Yes, I was Dave Steeg, and that was Shane Ellis. Butterfly Trader, well, I heard from my WhatsApp group member today that it looks like They seem to have again technical issues at SBI, and like Crypto Eerie tells something, it's like, I don't know, they're kind of like on hold. I mean, everyone who thinks SBI is live, it's not. We can see the order books, but there is no orders taking place. It's not live. It's like half live or half dead, I don't know. Empire is asking if Western Union will be forced into using XRP. Honestly, I don't care. I showed in that video, I referred to that guy who was talking about cost or banks holding. I think it was Murat Tuomi. In answer to his question, I told him to check my video about the cost of XRP. So, pending the fact that regulation is there so that banks can hold XRP, they will. Now, the question from Empire is kind of related to that, but most of you won't see the relation. Actually, even MoneyGram, now I remember what's the relation. In this video about the cost Empire, I showed that the remittance business worldwide is, I think, less than 1% or so. I think the total global yearly remittance market is 800 billion or less. That's like 20% of the daily market of SWIFT. That's nothing. I'm not looking for remittance companies using XRP. And as David Schwartz many times repeated, low value, high volume is possible at current price. The big thing why MoneyGram deal is so important is because we do have multi-hop, and as soon as this is set up properly for MoneyGram, that they have in those high friction corridors XRP kind of channels through their system, that will mean that every bank in those countries, even by just using Xcurrent, that they will be kind of multi-hopping through the XRP installation from MoneyGram. I'm not looking for the remittances from MoneyGram. That will literally have no effect on price at all. Butterfly, you're right. If they don't adopt, they will maybe be forced out of business. But even if they do adopt, it will not affect price. Actually, that's also thanks to Peter Kobe. I had to dig a little bit deeper. Actually, I dug deeper already a few weeks back, and I tried to figure out, because this simple calculation, this maximum low value, so to speak, in this simple calculation I use the value of 10,000, and that's for me rather a high value for a low value, and it's corresponding to most remittance companies' max value they will transact. And I mean, how many times did you pay with your Visa card? Usually low value payments are payments where you use a card, be it a credit card or a debit card, or when you do a remittance to some family member in another country. And that's always less than 10,000. I never bought the car with my credit card. I mean, my limit on my credit card is lower. And that's the reason why I think that just makes sense. And those low value payments will literally have no effect. Well, Richie Rich, banks, as soon as banks can hold XRP, the circulating supply will shrink drastically. I mean, they will act the same as you do. Okay, they will do transactions with their XRP, but they will also hold it as a store of value, same as you do. And maybe it's 20%, and believe me, they will buy in billions. So a lot of what is available circulating now will be gone, which will increase the price even higher. Dave Stegen, actually, central bank digital currency, CBDC, I think central bank digital CBDC will not really remove us out of the liquidity trap. It's just a replacement for fiat, but basically, if I'm using a CBDC coin or if I'm using cash, I'm using a card anyway. And at the time the countries will have CBDCs, you will be using it with the same debit or credit card as you would use fiat today. There will be literally you will not notice any difference. So the liquidity trap is still there, because it still will, unless they start using XRP, it will still require the Nostros. It's basically just the Nostros. Gonzo Chunky, that idea you're talking about is basically what I debunked already in the beginning. Let me give the example. You owe me $1 million, and you have that one XRP worth $5,000. You send it to me once. Now I have 5,000 of this 1 million. How do you get that 1 XRP back? I would need to sell it to you. Actually, yes, but it wouldn't work. I mean, you would the guy sending it would always need to buy it back, and how can he then kind of say it? I don't get that logic. Low value. No. Going a Jekyll. High value is 50 million. High volume is trillions per day. Patrick Barra, 1500 TPS we most likely will not see in the next 2-3 years. Actually, Alex Kopp asked Ashish Biela today, after he responded to my question to him, when they will increase the TPS on XRP Ledger. And even if RippleNet with XRP would cover 100% of the Swift transactions. Swift transacts, I think, now at about 85% through GPI. It's 30 million messages a day, from which 15 million are payment messages. And now calculate that down to the second. You get to less than 200 transactions per second. It's as easy as that. So even at 100% Swift traffic, we would be still lower than 300 TPS. There's way headroom. It will take years until we get to the 1500 TPS, unless Visa decides to go all in on Visa and MasterCard, unless those two decide to go all in on XRP. But at that time, they will be holding XRP, Visa and MasterCard, and they will be open. They will have payment channels open, and payment channels can scale up to 50,000 or more transactions per second. So really, I really don't see that we will need more than a 1500 for the time being. Gonzo Chunk, and how do you get the XRP back to send it a second time? If I don't want to sell it to you, then you need to buy it from somewhere else. You need to buy for 1 million XRP anyway. It's the same XRP, but you need to buy it 200 times. And 200 times 4 seconds is 3 minutes. An XRapid transaction takes maximum 2 minutes, and in those 2 minutes is the messaging part included. So the transaction itself is literally 20 seconds. If you tell me how you can send with 1 XRP at $5,000 in 20 seconds 1 million, then I'm really happy. Then I will tell you you're right, Gonzo. Hi Stuart, nice to see you. David C, you're really I mean, some person, I don't remember who it was, recently asked me a question. I think it was about XRP in general. And then my answer was, maybe it's that simple that most people don't get the point that XRP is a bridge currency. I mean, I read it once and I understood it completely from the moment I read it. I didn't need to think twice about it, but maybe some people are like looking way too far. What is a bridge currency? They don't get it. I don't know, maybe I'm too stupid and not too brilliant to get that concept. As a matter of fact, David, point is, many people, I mean, at work, basically everyone knows that I'm in XRP, and everyone knows that I want to become a millionaire, but most are like risk averse, because there is no guarantee. That's for sure, there is no guarantee, but they don't see it. Empire, if Swift will use XRP by the end of 2020, as soon as we have high prices, I'm pretty sure banks will be using Corda Settler to integrate with Swift GPI. Richie Rich, actually the theory of Shane Ellis said that the price, once it is high, such that high value payments can go through the system, will be kept stable through sell and buy walls. Once liquidity dries up for whatever reason, let's say banks are suddenly allowed to hold XRP and they will buy all the XRP and only use little XRP for the transaction. Maybe the price has to triple or increase 5 times again to $5,000 or $10,000, but it will be like a one-step movement, but it will for sure not go down again. No way. Lost you again. Who the fuck? Lost you again. Is it coming back online? No video, no sound. It's really weird. Hoi Sonja, meine Liebe. I don't know what's wrong, and I did the same thing as last time, but this time it seems to be gone for good. See and hear now. Now you see and hear me. Sound is okay, you're back. I only see his cat. That's not my cat. This thing here. I'm there. Problem is YouTube tells me I'm offline, but can you see me? Kein Video. But you can hear me. I'm really sorry, I don't know what the problem is. Hear or see, Peter? Just hear. Because it tells me I'm still offline. All good. No sound, no video. I see and hear you. Did you see that? Now the stream is healthy again. Now you should be able to see me and hear me. Sorry about that. Anyway, let me get back to the question from Richie. I think that's roughly where you lost me. He was asking about the price when it's, let's say, 7,700. Will it go down to 1,000? And my answer was no. According to Shane Ellis, there will be sell and buy walls, keeping the price stable. And once liquidity dries up, for whatever reason, because no one wants to sell him anymore, because they just want to have it as a store of value, or banks start buying a lot of XRP for whatever reason, for lending or I don't know, then the liquidity may dry up, and then that's the point where the price may have to increase even further, like to $5,000 or $10,000. So basically, Rich, and the answer is no. Once it's high, it will not drop. And according to Shane Ellis, it'll be actually like that even whales will not be able to move price anymore, because there will be I told it in other videos and live streams already, and I will repeat that again. This system is like a nuclear reactor. Hard to start, but once it runs, it's hard to stop, and it cannot fail. It'll be a disaster. No, nothing new regarding the training projects, Richard. But Richard is actually referring to an interesting point, and I will also repeat that because many don't know. There is a training company. I will put a link on the stream after that. Put link to Noble Prog. I I think it's called. There is a training company offering, I think in the meantime, almost 2 years now, training. They offer 3 trainings around RippleNet and XRP for admins, for developers, and for like liquidity managers in institutions, banks, and big companies like ABB and stuff. And in some countries like Switzerland, they offer a training every week for about 2 years now. Which startup can tell that about his technology? Again, no video. Okay, then in I don't know what the problem is. Let me finish one last question if you hear me, otherwise we stop. One last question, otherwise we stop here. Really don't know why stream is lagging. You want me to do 15 minutes more because there was a lag of streaming. Can you see and hear me now? I don't think so. No, it's again bad. Can you hear and see me now? Again. Now it says health. Stream health is good. So, can you hear and see me? Okay, 5 minutes more I give you due to the lagging. More questions. Did I miss something? Peter, did I answer your question? I don't know if Peter Kobe is still online. He hasn't been writing for some time. I hope I didn't piss him off. Otherwise, Peter, get back to me in the comments, okay? I can only hear. Okay now. One last... When there is no questions, I will stop it for today. Is there any other question? I really don't know what the problem is with this connection, because the connection should be good. Okay, let's stop it then. You're welcome. Thanks everyone, thanks for your trust, for your perseverance with me, and if you have any question I didn't address, please give me a comment in the feedback. Okay, last question from Clipboard. Will XRP go up in a financial crisis? I think it has to go up to prevent the financial crisis. Okay? I'm gone. Take care. Bye bye.